Good morning, students. Today let me explain you about the cattle breeding techniques. Introduction. The introduction of semen into the oviduct or uterus by some means other than sexual intercourse. The use of semen from a genetically superior male to inseminate a female, resulting in a genetically superior offspring. The manual placement of semen in the reproductive tract of the female by a method other than natural mating. So, today we are talking about artificial insemination here, one of the techniques of cattle breeding, and same kind of technique is being used in other animals too. And one more thing I would like to mention at this juncture is there are other means of or other types of techniques are there in cattle breeding, but as far as your syllabus is concerned, we will have to discuss on artificial insemination. Who invented artificial insemination? The first successful experiment with artificial insemination in animals was performed by an Italian physiologist, Lazzarello Spallanzani, who in 1780, while investigating animal reproduction, developed a technique for artificial insemination in dogs. So, the first artificial insemination was done in dogs, but later extended to other animals, including cattle. Why use AI? AI refers to artificial insemination. AI provides the producer an opportunity to use sires possessing superior genetical characters. Depending upon the needs and goals of an individual's breeding program, AI offers an economically feasible means of increasing productivity over a wide range of traits. In spite of this enormous potential to improve production levels, many producers have not put themselves in a position to take advantage of the benefits offered by AI. Some factors to consider in testing in AI. The first one, libido test, which is also called sex drive. This is especially important in bulls kept for natural breeding since some bulls are more active breeders than others. Scrotal circumference test. This is an observable, measurable characteristic that indicates fertility. In general, the greater the scrotal circumference, the greater the sperm production, hence increased fertility. Semen evaluation. This is the most important factor in fertility testing. Semen is evaluated for a uniform, solid, dense appearance, which indicates high sperm concentration. A sample which appears to be translucent contains fewer sperm cells. Semen with a curved appearance should not be used as this indicates inflammation. Semen evaluated for volume. It may vary depending on the age of the bull or sire. Younger sires produce a smaller volume of semen, which is not a negative factor, of course, but as long as the concentration of semen is good. That means the concentration of the semen is very important here, whether the bull is young or old. Artificial insemination is not merely a novel method of bringing about impregnation in females. Instead, it is a powerful tool mostly employed for livestock improvement. In AI, the germplasm of the bulls of superior quality can be effectively utilized with the least regard for their location in faraway places. By adoption of artificial insemination, there would be considerable reduction in both genital and non-genital diseases in the farm stock. So here is the picture which shows the bulls that are supposed to be selected. As you observe in the picture, the bulls are selected here, which shows naturally and good health status, and it is free from infectious diseases, and it is genetically superior bull, and it is capable of producing good amount of semen and facilitates semen collection. Symptoms of heat. The various symptoms of heat are as follows. The animal will be in excited condition. The animal will be in restless and nervousness condition. The animal will bellow frequently. Bellow means a kind of sound produced by these cattle, and this will be very abnormal type of bellowing at the time of heat. The animal will reduce the intake of feed. Peculiar movement of limbosacral region will be observed. The animals which are in heat will lick other animals and smelling other animals, including the person who handles them. The animals will try to mount other animals. Mount means try to try to climb on the nearby animals. The animals will stand still when another animal try to mount. So here stand still means the cow which is in a heat period, which normally allows the bull to copulate or to mount on it. Otherwise, if it is not in heat period, it will not allow, and it exhibits a different type of behavior. So this keeping quiet at the time of mounting by a bull is referred to as standing heat period, and this extends for 14 to 16 hours. And the cattle will show frequent micturition or urination, that is a prominent feature that will be observed, and a clear mucus discharge will be seen from the vulva. Sometimes it will be string like the mucus will be seen stick to the near the parts of the vulva. Swelling of the vulva will be seen. Congestion and hyperemia of membrane. The tail will be in raised position, and milk production will be slightly decreased, and on palpation, that is a kind of touch stimulus, uterus will be turgid and the cervix will be opened. Semen collection methods and evaluation. Various methods of collection of semen have been devised from time to time. The older unsatisfactory methods have been gradually replaced by the new modern techniques. There are three common methods. 1. Use of artificial vagina. 2. By electrostimulation method. 3. By massaging the ampullae of the ductus deferens through rectal wall. However, the ideal method of semen collection is the use of artificial vagina, which is safe for sire as well as the collector. Artificial vagina method. The artificial vagina has the following parts. A. A heavy hard rubber 2-inch loose open at both ends with a nozzle for air and water in and outlet. Inner sleeve of rubber or rubber liner. The semen receiving cone or rubber cone. Semen collection tube made of glass or plastic, graduated in cc and its fraction correct to 0.1 cc. Process. Insulating bag. Before using for semen collection, all the parts are washed thoroughly and sterilized properly and assembled as artificial vagina. The rubber liner is inserted into the hose, inverting both the ends back by folding back from either side opening and fastening with the rubber bands. Now, the space between the hard rubber hose and inner rubber liner forms a watertight compartment, and the nozzle at one end of the hose can be fixed. Next, the water jacket of the artificial vagina is filled with hot water at a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit by opening the nozzle. The graduated semen collection tube is fixed to the narrow end of the artificial vagina hose and fastened by a rubber band. The inner side of the rubber liner on the anterior side of the artificial vagina is lubricated with sterile jelly to a length of 3 to 4 inches. Air is blown through the nozzle into the water jacket to create pressure in it, and the same is exerted to the rubber linear to simulate natural vagina. The temperature of the artificial vagina is to be checked at each collection, and it should simulate natural vagina at mounting time. Otherwise, ejaculation will not happen. If it is too cold, ejaculation may not be there after a thrust, or even if ejaculation is there, it may be contaminated with urine and becomes unfit for usage. Semen collection method. The cow or dummy is secured in cervix create. The artificial vagina assembled is held at 45-degree angle from the direction of penis and the thrust is at that angle. The artificial vagina is held with the left hand by a right-handed person, and when the bull mounts the cow, the sheath of the bull will be grafted by the operator, directing the gland penis into the artificial vagina, and then the bull gives a thrust to ejaculate. The operator should be very careful so as not to touch the exposed part of the penis. After the bull dismounts, the artificial vagina is taken off from penis and the air vent is opened to release the pressure from the jacket. The water from the jacket is also drained by opening the nozzle, and this allows the ejaculate to flow from the cone to the semen collection tube. The semen collection tube is detached from the cone, plugged with cotton wool, and taken to the laboratory for examination. The rubber cone and the semen collection tube can be protected from external contamination or heat or higher temperature by covering with an insulation with zip. Semen storage. The discovery that bull semen could be successfully frozen and stored for indefinite periods has revolutionized AI in cattle. In 1949, British scientists discovered that addition of glycerol to the semen extender improved resistance of sperm to freezing. Glycerol acts to remove water from the sperm cell prior to freezing and prevents the formation of cellular ice crystals which would damage the sperm. There are two methods of freezing and storing semen: A. Dry ice and alcohol method, where the temperature is maintained to 100 degree Fahrenheit, and B. Liquid nitrogen. The temperature is maintained at minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Liquid nitrogen is preferred because there is no evidence of fertility deterioration with age, and the fertility gradually declines in semen stored in dry ice alcohol method. So, the best method here is liquid nitrogen method. Frozen semen can be stored indefinitely if proper temperature is maintained. Fresh liquid semen can be successfully stored for 1 to 4 days at 40 degrees Celsius. Semen is usually stored in glass ampoules. Other method that appears promising is the French straw. Artificial coloring is frequently added to semen extenders in order to distinguish one breed from another. So they will put individual color for individual semen collection sample. Complete identification of the bull is required on each individual semen container. Freezing of semen is done with a special diluent which has the following composition: sodium citrate dihydrate angula, semen fructose glycerol, egg yolk, penicillin diluent. Dihydrostreptomycin 50 mg per 100 ml of semen diluent. Distilled water, that is doubled glass distilled water 100 ml. The addition of glycerol to the diluent makes the cells more resistant to the rigors of freezing and icy crystals, which form are smaller and smoother, thus creating less damage to the spermatozoa. The addition of fructose to the diluent offers sperm resistance to glycerol and also provides nutrition. The frozen semen is packed in single-dose glass vials or plastic straws at plus 5 degrees Celsius. The final level of glycerol should be 7 to 7.6% during the freezing process. The antibiotics are added to inhibit bacteria and to kill pathogenic organisms. The semen to be diluted in such a way that 1 ml of extended semen will contain 20 million motile spermatozoa. The semen must be cooled carefully for spermatozoa to remain with life, and the final temperature is lowered to minus 79 degrees Celsius or even still lower. Quick freezing is done for a period of 3 to 5 minutes to minus 75 degrees Celsius with the help of atmospheric created by liquid nitrogen. However, in the slow freezing method, cooling is done at the rate of 1 degree Celsius per minute from plus 5 degrees Celsius to minus 15 degrees Celsius, and then from minus 15 degrees Celsius to minus 31 degrees Celsius at the rate of 2 degrees Celsius per minute, and then from minus 31 degrees Celsius to minus 75 degrees Celsius at the rate of 4 to 5 degrees Celsius per minute. So what you observe here is gradually that temperature is going to be increased. Thus, taking 40 minutes in total, further cooling to minus 96 degrees Celsius can be done quickly as it is not critical after freezing. That means after minus 75 degrees Celsius, it can be frozen quickly up to minus 96 degrees Celsius, and then it can be preserved or frozen for longer periods. Before freezing the diluted semen, it is equilibrated for 3 to 5 hours or for the best 16 to 20 hours period in refrigerator at 5 degrees Celsius. Liquid nitrogen plays a vital role in covering the frozen semen straws at a temperature of minus 196 degrees Celsius for longer periods. Insemination methods. There are different methods of insemination in different species of animals, that is the speculum method, vaginal method and recto-vaginal method. However, the most commonly used method is recto-vaginal method, and the details are as follows. In cattle, the safe and best method of insemination is recto-vaginal method of insemination. Cow which is in heat is well controlled, placing it in a travis, that is a kind of projection which makes the cow to stand. The inseminator will get ready by wearing a plastic apron, gumboots and gloves. The semen straw after thawing, that is keeping the semen straw in warm water for a minute to convert the frozen semen into liquid and the sperms become motile. So this process is called thawing. So this thawed sperm or semen is loaded in a sterilized AI gun covered with a plastic sheet. The inseminator will insert the gloved left hand into the rectum after applying the soft soap or other lubricant on the glove and back rack the animal, and the hand is further inserted and will catch hold the cervix through rectal wall. The A gun is loaded with semen straw, is passed through vulva to vagina and cervix and observed with the hand in rectum that the AI gun reaches the cervix. Then the semen is deposited by injecting the gun, and after depositing the semen, the gun is removed and the empty straw and sheath are discarded. Coming to spectrum method. In this method, spectrum is placed in the vagina of the cow, which provides passage outside the site of insemination, and then inseminating tube is passed through the speculum and semen is deposited at the cervix. Vaginal method. Hand is passed through the vagina and the inseminating tube is guided by hand to the site of insemination, and semen is deposited. Here there is a risk of contamination and injury of the female genitalia, hence this spectrum and vaginal method are not generally being followed. Timing of insemination for maximum conception. A frequent question concerning AI is what time during estrus should cows be bred for greatest chance of conception? Since estrus may last from 10 to 25 hours, there is considerable latitude is possible time of insemination. Much research work has been conducted on this subject. The studies shows that conception rate is lower when cows are bred prior to mid-estrus or later than 6 hours after cessation of estrus, that is, standing heat in this case. Maximal conception is obtained when cows are inseminated between mid-estrus and the end of standing estrus, with good results up to 6 hours after estrus. The success in insemination timing is dependent upon a good heat detection program, which thing I already explained to you. In large herds, this means assigning individual responsibility for heat detection and a continued education program for labor. A successful heat detection program and subsequent proper timing of insemination will pay dividends, that is benefits in increasing reproductive efficiency. Semen collection methods. The first one, electric stimulation. An electroejaculator's apparatus is introduced, a weak alternating current to the sacral and pelvic nerves via electrodes placed in the rectum until erection and ejaculation occur. So, as an electrical device is used, or a kind of what you call the electrodes are used here to stimulate or to induce the erection and ejaculation. It is called electroejaculator method. Semen collection methods, that is by electric stimulation. It is used on all farm animals except boars and horses. It is used effectively on bulls that cannot mount due to leg injuries. Semen preparation, storage and shipment. It may be kept at room temperature if it is to be used within 2 hours of collection. However, if the semen will be put into the long-term storage, semen needs to be gradually cooled and frozen at temperature below zero, which thing I already explained to you. Now let us go through some equipments that are needed for AI, especially among cattle, goats and horses. First one, liquid nitrogen tank. It is used to store semen straws at minus 320 degree Fahrenheit, and the semen stored in this tank may last indefinitely once frozen properly and temperature is maintained. So this is the picture of this liquid nitrogen tank. Second one, a semen straw. It is containing a single dose of semen. As you observe in the picture here, this what you call these straws are being used to collect the semen or to have the semen in it. Now straw tweezers. It is used to pick up the semen when thawing unit. Now some other equipment, semen thawing unit. It is used for thawing the frozen semen before insemination, and it contains water in it. So it is an thawing is a process of converting the frozen semen into liquid semen. Thermometer. It is used to measure the temperature that is in the thawing unit, and the temperature should be between 95 to 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Inseminating syringe or gun. As you observe in this picture, it is a syringe-like projection, and it is used to place semen in the reproductive tract of the cow or heifer and to maneuver it through the cervix. It is made up of stainless steel. Sterile lubricant. It is the lubrication which is put on the plastic sleeve in order to first enter the vulva. Paper towels. It is used to dry off the semen straw and to wipe animal clean, especially the vulva, and to put on the top of the vulva to keep clean. Scissors to cut the end of the straw just prior to insemination, because the semen will be stored in the straw in a closed manner, and in order to cut off it, these scissors are being used. Plastic sleeve. It is used to put on inseminator's arm to keep clean, so that the inseminator can insert the hand deep up to cervix region. Cover sheet. Inseminator's gun is put inside of the sheath so that all is kept clean. So it is a projection that covers the straw. Equipment needed continuation. Kumara heat stripes. Heating aid with red dye that expels when a cow or heifer is mounted. Tail chalk. Chalk paint is smeared when cow or heifer is mounted. So this is the rectovaginal method, which is already explained to you. So before the technique is being followed, the person has to remove all feces from the rectum, grasp the cervix through the wall of the rectum, and it is not done with horses or swine. Insert the inseminating tube through vagina and into the cervix, and guide tube through cervix. Deposit semen from middle of the cervix to body of the uterus. Now let us go through some advantages of AI. Increased efficiency of bull usage, increased potential for genetic selection, decreased cost, increased safety for animals and farmers, reduced disease transmission, allows for the elimination of dangerous dairy bulls from the farm, reduces the number of bulls in the herd, allows to use larger and heavier bulls on small animals without the danger of injury to the females. Introduction of new genetic material via importation of salmon from outside the country. So it is not expensive in handling, quarantine and shipping costs of live animals, that is live bulls. Frozen salmon can be stored and used long after the donor or sire is dead, or injured sire that is unable to breed naturally. And it allows for more efficient use of estrus synchronization. Disadvantages: it requires well-trained operators and special equipment, requires more time than natural services, necessitates the operator to have knowledge of anatomy and physiology of reproductive system of these cattle animals, lowers the fertility, may occur in case of improper cleaning of the instruments and insanitary conditions. Next one, difficult preservation and transportation of salmon, that is under service climate conditions like those prevailing in most parts of the tropics. So these are some disadvantages of AI. So with this, I have completed this technique of artificial insemination in cattle. So thank you.